Welcome once more on a new video presentation on accounting for stock based on the SYSCOHADA Accounting Framework. This particular video presentation will deal on Account 3.2 raw materials. So if you are ready, let us start the video presentation. So let us review the different accounts under class 3 stock account. Our presentation will stress more on class 3.2 raw materials. So before we start with the video presentation or we enter into the subject matter, let us look at some definition of terms. We are talking about class 3 stock of assets, inventory, and it's but normal that we have to define inventory in the first place. And inventory are assets which are either held for sale in the ordinary course of business, or then the process of production of such, meaning maybe part finished goods, work in progress, services in progress, goods in process. Or inventory can be in the form of materials or supplies which are going to be consumed in the production process or in the rendering of services. And the SYSCOHADA Accounting Framework has categorized or distinguished these different types of stocks or inventory into separate sub-accounts under the class 3 stock account. Raw materials, which is our subject matter, will be found in this third stage of the definition: materials or supplies to be consumed in the production process or in the rendering of services. Furthermore, we have to differentiate between periodic inventory system and the perpetual inventory system. In the periodic inventory system, an inventory count is done at the end of, usually at the end of the year, once during the year, or on a periodic basis, but most entities prefer to do it towards the end of the accounting period. And it is only after this physical stock count is done that the entity can determine the number of items in its inventory, and hence a record under the items under stock. But with the perpetual inventory system, the entity records additions, entries, and exits of stock directly in the class 3 stock account, not once a year, but on a constant, continuous basis. After having defined some general terms, inventory, periodic inventory system, and the perpetual inventory system, let us enter into the subject matter of our video presentation, Account 3.2 raw materials. This account will be used for raw materials and supplies acquired by the entity and which are destined to be converted into final products. It therefore means that consumables will not be accounted for under Account 3.2. Our next step will be to look at the double entry involved in Account 3.2, and we are first going to look at the case where an entity chooses to use the periodic inventory system. So at the end of the year, the entity will debit Account 3.2 raw materials and credit Account 6032 stock variation of raw materials by the amount of the closing stock, which is determined at the end of the year or during the physical stock count. This double entry is in order to include the amount of raw materials discovered during the physical stock count in the stock account. At the same time, simultaneously, we are going to debit Account 6032 and credit Account 3.2 raw materials. This double entry is to remove the initial opening stock amount which was in the account 32, such that the closing stock is what should be found, or is what is going to remain in that account. So the first double entry is to include the closing stock of raw materials in the account 32, and the second double entry is to remove the opening stock from the account 32. So that is what happens in a periodic inventory system. So let us look at the case of a perpetual inventory system. In the perpetual inventory system, the entity will debit account 32 every time there is an entry in stock. It is done by crediting account 6032 at the purchase cost of the stock. There is a video presentation which will show you how to determine the purchase cost of stock. Account 32 is credited every time you have a stock exit. Every time the raw materials leave stock to be used in the production conversion process, and it is done by crediting account 32 and debiting account 6032 at the purchase cost, the initial original purchase cost of the raw materials. Additionally, in a perpetual inventory system, the entity might discover that during the physical stock taking, the physical stock discovered, actually seen, is more than the one into the system, into the stock system. And in that case, the entity has to account for that increase in stock, for that incremental amount of stock, by debiting account 32 raw materials and crediting account 6032 stock variation of raw materials. If, in the other hand, during the physical stock taking, the entity discovers that the physical stock is less than the stock in the accounting records in the perpetual inventory system, in that case the entity must account for the decrease by debiting account 6032 stock variation of raw materials and crediting account 32 raw materials. Okay, we have come to the end of this video presentation. We hope you have enjoyed the presentation. We hope it helped you in your studies, in your work. And as usual, don't hesitate to contact us and check out this page for more video presentations on the SYSCOHADA Accounting Framework. But for now, bye bye.